Hi there guys, so today, well you're probably wondering, this is a gaming channel, right? So why isn't there video games? Well you see, I don't have enough money to afford that quite yet. So, I'm doing a video on how to play chess. So chess is it's a very good game in my opinion. It requires you to it requires a lot of thinking and strategy. And you're probably wondering, how do you play chess? So simply, the first thing you need to do when playing chess is to set up the board. So the easiest is these things called pawns. Pawns always go on the second row of each back row. So you place them like this. Try to keep them straight. It's important for when you play the game later. So, they always should go on row 7 or row 2. You notice these numbers, it's upside down, but that doesn't matter right now. Now these are called brooks. They always go on the two left and right corners of the board. The next piece is the knight. The knight always goes on the G row and the B row. You notice how there are letters correlating to the numbers. Finally, but next you have the bishops. These two. There's a white bishop on here and there's a black bishop correlating with the color here. They always are on the F and C rows. After that, you have the queen. Remember, there's two sides of the board. The queen is always to the color of that side. So you have the black side and you have the white side. The queen is always on the color of her side. So that would be white here. Then there's king too. And then king is always on the opposite color of the queen. So next, how do the pieces move? So the knight moves in L, which is always free forward and one to the side. The knight, in my opinion, is a very important in-game piece because most likely the bishops have their limits, but the knights can pretty much go to every square, I think, on the board eventually. The next piece that you'll need is the bishop. The bishop cannot cross or jump other pieces. So you would have to move this pawn forward. And by the way, the pawns can move 2 squares, but only on the first turn. And then the bishop can go here, 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 here. Next is the queen. The queen can go forward, but like the bishop, she cannot jump squares. So it could do this, and anywhere over here, but it cannot jump pawns, so remember that. Next is the king. The king you should probably always keep protected, because if the king gets captured by your opponent, it's checkmate. So always move. So the king can go here, here, and pretty much here. But the king can only move 1 space at a time. The white bishop moves on white squares. And then finally you have the brooks. The brooks cannot jump squares unless in the castle. So to castle, you need to have all your pieces in the corner moved out. And then you notice how there are no pieces in between my king and my brook. So then he can castle. He can only move. So here's how you castle. 1, 2. And that's how. And so notice how the king. That's a king side's castle. And notice the king is on B, and the rook is on C. Follow this rule at all times. Finally, for basically, the pawns can move 2 spaces on their first move, but after that they have to move like this. But your opponent, so in chess, it's a turn. You move, then your opponent gets to move. The goal is to capture the most pieces and then win by having the king not checkmated for your other side, for the black side. So, now let me reset the board. So you're probably wondering, how might a game of chess play out? So let me show you how. So I'm on black, which is this side, which is the defensive side. And so we'll let white go first. I mean, you have to, because white is offensive. So typically, the best way to respond is by doing this. Well, that's the most common way to respond. There's never a best way to respond to it in chess. So black is always on the defense. It's okay to make mistakes. So now white has to respond to what I'm doing. But because it's also good to have a backup plan, including attacking the king. So that would be check. And the king would have to move out of the way. Or it could be blocked. Now, like I said earlier, knights are very useful for in-game. So I'm a knight snatcher, so I always do that. But he took my bishop with the pawn. You notice how pawns attacked sideways, forward and sideways. So they would only attack like here or here, but that's my own piece. So the best way to win is to keep on putting pressure on white. But white, I forgot to mention earlier that all pieces have a capture range. If a piece, for example, if my pawn was right here, he could capture like that, but my pawn isn't right there. So he's currently taking a while to respond to what I'm doing.
Yeah, I know.
But sometimes it takes a while to think about how to do this. So you notice that I could do this, but that would be risky because I would end up losing my knight in the process if I wanted to do this. So the least risky thing to do is to do this. Because you notice I am not in any attack ways or squares for me to be attacked by. But I also lost my own piece in the process. So now I'm going to continue moving on. So now I'm attacking his queen. Let's see how he responds. And he's had a very long experience with chess, so I know he's going easy on me. Like very, very easy. So you notice he attacks my knight, turning the tables on me to move my knight. So the best way to respond is either defending my knight or not defending my knight and attacking another one of his pieces. But you notice how I could attack this piece but lose my knight. So I'd rather run away, but I have no places to run away. Well, I could do this, but it's not good to have your knight far away from the center.
Where were you?
I was right here.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yes, don't question me. So, now it's his turn to respond to what I did. The best way he could do this is by attacking one of my pieces, but I'm not sure if because the queen's a very valuable piece. Because if I didn't have my queen, it'd probably be pretty bad. So you notice he attacks my queen. So I attack his bishop back. But this was not too good of a move because he could capture me and it would be game over. You could literally capture it in multiple places and it basically would be game over for my queen. Notice, it's always good to have your pieces in the collection that you have taken. So now, because I'm not really being attacked in this fight, it's best for me to castle. So I go 1, 2, and this. Now I can bring my rook into the battle. As we wait for him to respond, it's best to talk about this is what you would call a mid-game situation, because we're not in the beginning game anymore, and a lot of our pieces have either been taken
check
or not taken. So he checked me. The best way for me to respond with this, because I have high.
You still have your pawn there.
Oh yeah, I do. My bad. The teacher got taught. So I could respond in many ways, but it's not good for you to back your king off. It's not good for you to back your king off.
Into a corner, you mean? Back your king into a corner, you mean?
Stop teaching the teacher. Back your king off to the corner. Because if you do, let's say I didn't have these two pawns, and he...
Hey, let's put the game man. Put the thing back and let the game play on.
I know, but this is
That was your move?
No, that was not my move. Moving two pieces at a time would...
When you move your king to the corner, you move your king over there, right? He was being checked, so you move him to the corner?
Yes.
Well, move him then.
But I'm gonna... But
See,
I could respond by...
moved your
No,
king.
never mind.
Yeah, I mean, do
So
it.
I'm gonna do a horrible job of this, and I'm gonna move my king into the corner.
Yeah.
This is a horrible move for so many reasons, but I'm just gonna let this game play off. So now it's my turn, and I'm gonna choose to attack his queen by doing this. And that put pressure on him to move. Because if he doesn't move, he'll lose his queen.
Check. With a pawn.
But you notice that it's gotten me into this point. So I'll take it with my king and be like, nobody cares about your move. So now it's his turn to respond.
Yo.
Stop trying to be a fresh grandpa. This is not working for the chess game, man. Yeah, I'm still gonna post this video.
Check.
But he responds with saying, no, you. So I go like, how about... Yeah, well, how about this?
Okay.
So this is a horrible move. I honestly am being taught by the teacher. He's the real teacher in this situation. How many years of chess have you been playing?
I don't know.
Well, you've been playing at least 562, right?
Something like that. Okay.
So now he's really gotten me, and I almost lost my queen because I was just really being obnoxious. So the point is now that he has to decide whether to take which piece to take my piece with. Now since he doesn't want to lose his queen, or does he? He's probably gonna take with my bishop. with his bishop, my bad. Awkward silence intensifies. So the point is, now he's gonna make his move. Well, probably by the time I'm a skeleton.
Okay, alright.
So he made his move. But now I make my move. And notice I forked him. So he either has to choose to move his king. Well, he has to move his king. But he can choose where to move his king. Here, here, here. Any places. But as a consequence for that, I come up and steal his brook. Sorry, Mr. Brook, I had to. But then he backs off by stealing my knight. This is a really horrible situation for me. I'm not being too good of a teacher right now, am I? But so now I respond by moving my queen out of harm's way.
Yeah.
But
Your queen was in harm's way?
yeah, come on.
Okay, well, that's fine.
And also,
Checkmate.
mission failed. So, as you can see, I was checkmated. But I wasn't really trying, to be honest.
Yeah, you were with the instructions.
Yeah, I was talking. So, as you can see, this is the worst possible way for this to end. Hey, stop! No, and whatever. So, as you can see, this is the worst possible way for chess game to end. This is really a horrible way for the game to end. And you're trying to avoid that happening. Are you serious right now? Okay, fine. You're trying to avoid that from happening. So, as you can see, I didn't avoid that.
No kidding.
And that's how the game ends. So remember, if you like this content, like and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching. Sorry for the awkward moment at the end where I have to turn off the video.